Growing up, my younger brother Ethan had an incredible talent for making my life miserable. If there was an Olympic sport for being a manipulative, self-serving brat, he'd have at least 3 gold medals. The worst part? Our parents absolutely adored him. He could burn down the house, and they'd say, "Boys will be boys." Meanwhile, if I so much as left my socks on the floor, I'd get a lecture about how I was single-handedly bringing shame upon our family. To be fair, Ethan was charming, athletic, and had the kind of face that made grandmothers pinch his cheeks and strangers hand him extra candy. Me? I was the quiet, bookish kid who somehow always got blamed for his messes. If he broke something, he'd blame me. If he failed a test, he'd say I distracted him. If he tripped over his own feet, well, guess whose fault that was? Mine. Ethan had a way of twisting reality to suit his needs, and my parents lapped it up like gospel. He crashed my bike? You shouldn't have left it outside, honey. He ate the cake I saved for my birthday? You should have eaten it sooner. He stole money from my wallet? Why are you keeping secrets from your brother? By the time I was a teenager, I had resigned myself to the fact that Ethan could do no wrong. My only goal was to get out of that house as soon as humanly possible. College became my salvation. I studied hard, got a scholarship, and moved out at 18, leaving behind my family and their Ethan-centric universe. Meanwhile, Ethan coasted through life, failing upward. He barely graduated high school, partied his way through college, funded by our parents, of course, and landed a job through Dad's connections. He had the looks, the charm, and the complete lack of responsibility that made him thrive in social settings. Meanwhile, I was grinding away at work, determined to build a stable life. But here's the kicker. No matter how successful I became, my parents always found a way to compare me to Ethan, and I always came up short. If I bought a car, Ethan had a cooler one that Dad paid for. If I got a promotion, Ethan was working on something big, which never materialized. If I bought a house, Ethan wasn't ready to settle yet, which somehow made him wise and free-spirited rather than, broke and irresponsible. Then came the moment that changed everything. I met Sarah, the love of my life. She was smart, kind, and saw through all of my insecurities. We got married after a few years of dating, and for once, I felt like I had won something. My parents even seemed to like her, which was a miracle in itself. Everything was great until it wasn't. One day, I came home early from work and found Ethan's car in my driveway. I didn't think much of it at first. He had a habit of dropping by unannounced, usually to borrow money or crash for a few days. But as I walked in, I heard hushed voices coming from upstairs. Voices that I knew all too well. The kind of voices that make your stomach drop. I don't remember how I got up the stairs, but I do remember the look on Sarah's face when she saw me. Guilt. Panic. And worst of all, relief, as if the secret she had been keeping was finally out. Ethan, on the other hand, had the audacity to smirk. "Hey bro, didn't expect you home so soon. I don't remember much after that. Just a lot of yelling, accusations, and a deep, soul-crushing betrayal that made me question every moment of my marriage. Turns out, it had been going on for months. And the best part? Sarah was pregnant. And guess what? The baby might not be mine. I walked away from both of them that night. Divorce papers were filed, a DNA test was ordered, the kid wasn't mine, big surprise, and I cut Ethan out of my life completely. My parents, of course, took his side. "He's your brother. Family is family. He didn't mean to hurt you." I reminded them that Ethan had been accidentally hurting me my whole life, and that I was done playing the role of the overlooked, responsible sibling. So I moved away, started fresh, and for the first time I was free. Then fate decided to have a little fun. A year later, our parents passed away in a tragic accident. It was sudden, heartbreaking, and unexpected. But here's the twist. They left everything to me. Every penny, every asset, the house, the retirement savings, all of it. Turns out, In their final years, they had grown tired of Ethan's freeloading and made some changes to their will. Ethan, of course, was furious. He called me, begging for help. Apparently, without mom and dad's support, he was broke. He lost his job, Sarah left him, shocking, and he had nowhere to go. "You can't just leave me like this, man. We're family." I laughed. Hard. "You mean the same way you left me when you slept with my wife? The same way you left me when you stole from me my whole life?" He tried to play the pity card, saying he had learned his lesson, but I wasn't buying it. "Ethan," I said, "the only thing you've ever learned is how to take from me, and for once, you're not getting anything." Then I hung up. Last I heard, Ethan was couch surfing with old friends, still waiting for some miracle to fix his life. Meanwhile, I took my inheritance, moved to a beach town, and finally started living for myself. I met someone new, who wasn't interested in my brother, thank God, and I finally felt at peace. Moral of the story? Sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's cutting toxic people out of your life and watching them self-destruct without you. And let me tell you, it's been absolutely glorious.